Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second or third part of our March monthly movie mini reviews. Depends on, I haven't edited them yet because I'm still in the middle of editing the January videos. Even though it's June, it's Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth,
It's
everyone.
Juneteenth,
Even though
and
it's probably August by now, the time you're watching this.
but I will say I'm super excited because my company is observing it this year, and so I actually have tomorrow off of
I was going to
work.
say, oh, you get Sunday off, do you? That's wonderful. I get Sunday off too. That's great.
Yeah, no, I get tomorrow off work, so I only have a 2-day work.
I mean, it's wonderful that Juneteenth was finally recognized as a federal holiday last year.
Right.
I think that I feel that the end of slavery is important enough that we should all get the day off of work. I think that's one of the ones that would rise to the top of the holiday heap in which
Honestly,
we get
it
the
should
day
be
off.
observed as widespread as 4th of July, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, they're really close together. I'm okay with that.
I'm really okay with that.
I'm okay with days off next to each other.
So is Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but I mean, at the very least, it certainly raises awareness of Juneteenth, existing. Which I'll be honest, I had not heard of Juneteenth until the last couple of years.
Yeah, and that's incredibly sad.
Yeah, oh yeah, and in fact,
and I didn't either. I'm not saying like, oh, how sad for you, brother. But
yeah, and I'll admit I get a little indignant about another aspect of my lacking public education when I was young, because it wasn't like something that they went over and I just wasn't paying attention in class and I ignored.
Right.
That was never talked about ever. That was never a thing. And
I remember.
I think most people learned about it with the Watchmen HBO TV series. That was the Tulsa Massacre. That they learned that most people first, was that a thing? Yeah. So popular entertainment has value. Not always, but it can. So and we'll be talking about some popular entertainment that has value and some that doesn't have as much.
This is true.
But people got paid, we hope, fair wages, and weren't ground into the dirt with
correct
crunch and stuff. So okay, so last week we ended talking about the Batman for like 40 minutes.
Yes.
So this week we are going to start off with the next title on my list, which is the last title on your list. So
let's do it.
Go ahead. What are we talking about?
We're going to talk about Turning Red.
Lady in Red.
Nope.
How did they not use that song?
Because that's about getting a date, and this one's about menstruation.
Okay.
Just saying.
Not necessarily mutually exclusive concepts, but okay.
Oh, okay. True. We didn't say why her dress was red.
I will date you while menstruating, but you won't like it.
I mean, we have a tampon shortage, so really, what are we supposed to do?
Oh no, do we?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, tampons are one of the supply chain
victims.
Yeah, victims.
I have a box under my sink or in my cabinet or something. Do you need me to send them?
No, I'm still good. I enjoy my BC IUDs. Helps me out.
Right.
Keeps it unnecessary. Okay, fantastic. Turning Red. So I think you and I also disagree on this movie because I did not like this one.
I liked it quite a bit.
Yes. Okay.
but what I think is interesting is we talked about this on the phone. I think back in March when we saw it, and what's interesting is my sister and I, we agree about the same things in the movie. Like we come at it with the same perspective and come away from it with the same understanding. It's not like we saw two different movies, but we definitely do have two different reactions to it. So go ahead.
Yeah. Although my favorite reaction was is it Four Town?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The
The
musical
little
group,
boy band in it.
the boy band with 5 members.
Yes. which I thought was hilarious.
So let's talk about.
And what's funny is because they're it's Jeremy and Paul and Theodore and Larry. Oh, and Brian's there too. There's something like it's like Larry's brother or something.
The 5th guy is like and Brian or whatever is very funny. But
he's in the back waving.
But so it's a group of preteen girls basically, or just teen, like, we're talking 12 to 14, it's that range.
Mm-hmm.
Are they 8th graders? Is that what we've learned? Do we really know?
They would, I think 8th grade, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right. And they're cute girls, they're super sweet. You have the girl who turns into a panda.
Mm-hmm.
Later in life. Because we watched this in March, I have already forgotten all the names, and I did not do the research to
May, I think. Maylin, I think, is the lead.
Oh, because May. So
the rest of the cast, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of them, but not Alan Turing. Turning.
One of them was Susan, right?
Miriam.
Was she the one with the flat affect?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. So there, Priya, Miriam, and
Priya would have been the one with the flat aspect. Miriam would have been the one with the braces, I think, and then there was the small Spitfire one.
Oh yeah, she was a cutie patootie. So, but the girls, of course, it has the picture of the actor and the role underneath. And I'm like, I want the picture.
I don't care what the voice actor looks like. To tell me which character they played.
So yeah, but so there are these girls and they're really cute and they each have very specific personalities. You do have the girl with the flat face that has a
little arch.
Yes,
but
they're definitely stereotypes of a personality.
They're not particularly well-rounded. They're archetypes. They're fairly one note, enjoyably so, I thought. But
yes, the girl with that, this is always like, like her,
the one who looks like me when I'm not trying.
Absolutely, they play dodgeball, and she's like,
yep,
and it's the funniest, like. Like, you go, girl. So it's very funny. So the thing is Miss Maylin goes through puberty one night.
Only takes one night. That's the nice thing about puberty. It's over and done with.
It is. You're like, oh, thank gosh. And she's coming to terms with her red panda-ness. And I mean, we've all seen the previews, at least one would imagine that we've seen the previews way back when, that she just figures out, oh my gosh, I've turned into a panda. And her mother and all the female, like the grandmother and the aunts, so the female family members all have this affliction, I guess you could say, that once they hit a certain age, the panda in them comes out. And every single one of these ladies has gone through this ritual to secure the panda in a token or a pendant or a brooch or something, to like the panda energy, so it's always there, but it won't ever, come out. So we are hiding it away.
That's right.
Yes. And May and her friends, they think it's so fluffy and cute, and she can play basketball, and it's very it's Teen Wolf, the name of the movie, Teen Wolf.
And the preview, it's not as Teen Wolf as the previews made it look. Because I saw the first trailer, I'm like, oh my god, this is just Teen Wolf. But it is distinct enough. So
it is. And they love it. And so she's like, this is exciting. This is who I am, and people like this part of me. And then her family is like, no, you must hide that part away. And then there is a whole bunch of city destruction, because of course you have Mama Panda. Now she like breaks her brooch or whatever, and Panda Soul comes out, and she's now massive.
Because women can't control their emotions and are incredibly destructive to themselves and everyone else, you see. Metaphor.
Exactly. Especially when we're on our periods.
Yeah.
We are incredibly like
destructive, rampaging
shit away. Like you gotta be like, ooh, you know, it's like when, you know, you take those girls.
To be clear, not the intended message of the movie.
But to be clear, the message I received, and that's why I was like,
yeah.
The message I received is you were dirty because you're not pregnant right now. But I will tell you, and I'm gonna get to the part that I did like, and then I'll let you talk because you're gonna sum it up very nicely. I will say the cool thing about this movie is at the end of it, like, so there is a wonderful, like, we can live with our pandas and control them, and, you know, accepting ourselves and self-acceptance and who we are and what family means and what self-discovery means and what friendship means and all of that, and understanding of the past, beautiful stuff, while also raising money to pay for the destruction of the city. And I thought that that was so great that they literally have the thermometer charts, you know, you used to have in school that, you know, like you would draw the little red lines in. And
I enjoyed that detail, that it's not consequence free in universe, that they're raising money to fix the Thunderdome or whatever that sports arena is.
Yeah, wherever they went to crash the Four Town concert. And that was, so there was a lot to enjoy about the movie. I received the incorrect messaging apparently, but that's okay. Go.
I feel the themes of the movie were both lacking in subtlety, but also losing, getting. I think they lost the metaphor in places, because if the panda is a metaphor for menstruation and more broadly puberty,
growing up,
okay, that I actually like that as a visual representation. Oh my gosh, just somewhere in the middle of my teenage years, I've suddenly grown a lot. I have body hair in weird places I wasn't expecting it to be. I'm having weird hormonal emotional swings. I don't know what to do with myself, and I smell funny.
Yes.
You know what? That's pretty good. I think they did. Yeah.
That is what adolescence feels like.
Yeah, that's fine. And they get into, and when they get into kind of accepting yourself for who you are, accepting all the maybe not so pretty parts of yourself as a necessary and beautiful part of your whole being, we're starting to, that's kind of an odd way to look at puberty specifically, but in our culture, at least American culture, menstruation for some reason is still very stigmatized in a lot of ways. Like I hear tell stories of really stupid males who run businesses who like accuse some of their female employees of doing it on purpose to get out of work. What? Or think that tampons are not sanitary products, but masturbation aids. It's like,
no.
And I'm like reading this, I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real. And it's totally real. I'm like, have you never met a woman ever? What is wrong with you?
Pretty sure you've never had a conversation with a woman.
Oh man, I mean, I grew up with two women, so I guess I have a leg up on some, so none of this stuff is a surprise to me. Hence I have a box of tampons in my medicine cabinet just in case someone needs them. Although I remember one time I did ask my sister, say, do these expire? Do I have to
No,
worry about throwing them out and
did ask.
replacing them every year? Because I don't know. I didn't see an expiration on the box, so I don't know. I personally, I have no use for them unless I get really bored and come up with a really creative craft project. So, but so you get into the movie, it gets into acceptance of who you are, and it's a great message, and it feels like it's starting to drift away from the main metaphor, but not terribly so. But then you get into the point where the panda is forcefully locked away by her family. Yeah. And I'm not sure how that works with the metaphor. Is this a metaphor for like a hysterectomy?
See, to me, I think and that's the part that like upset me the most, is that whole like.
And they're preaching acceptance at the end of the movie. All of the women except Mei lock their panda back down. I'm like, did we not learn anything? Is the message that it's too late for the older generation, but the future is the children? I'm not, it doesn't matter as much as far as my enjoyment for the movie went, but I was genuinely confused. I'm like, I'm not clear on what we're actually saying here.
Yeah. I will agree with that. Like at the end, because all the women, the pandas are released. I believe all of the
all of the aunties and grandma
and grandma
and mom.
And I was hoping that mom or maybe like one of the aunts or something would put their pandas away. Put your panda away. No, because I was thinking about it like that too. As I was like, I want, in my head, it's like, I get what you're saying, and I think that that's a big deal, that there is a loss. There are some things that are going to be lost on the older generations, and it's past their time to get over it. Even though all the women, when they had their pandas out, they kind of felt good and kind of felt free and kind of felt like, oh, this is good. It's still, they understood the new way. They understood like Mei's love for her panda and everything, but they were still just a little too, I just can't. I would have loved one mom, grandma, I would love one of them to have
there's probably like, there's probably also an element of celebrating womanhood, the really sticky dichotomy and social cultural minefield of simultaneously celebrating womanhood while hiding sexuality.
Yeah,
as if those are two not inextricably linked and two completely separate things. Celebrate one, hide the other. I think there might have been elements of that they were going for, but I don't think it is articulated well as the metaphor is presented in the movie, if that's the case.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about this movie that there is, it is, as Brother and I are showing now, like it is a base for a lot of conversation, because at its core, kids can watch it. There's a big old panda, there's fantasy elements, there's fun, one-note characters, but it's a fun note.
It's a great note. It's like B flat. It's a great note. Yeah, that's right.
Great note. I was trying to show the kids where like middle C and D, and they're like, I don't care about this, I'm playing. And I'm like, okay, never mind. We're not good for that yet. But as an adult and watching it and getting like these different themes and getting this, it is kind of a great jumping off point for a lot of things.
If nothing else, yeah.
If nothing else, because there was I went out with some friends last night, and it was a very random conversation, but when adults get talking, and in trigger warnings. We were just talking about women like being not like assaulted like physically like her, but like every woman has a story of indecency that was thrust upon her by a male, you know, and it's sad. And some of them are, none of them are harmless, but some of them are, you know, less offensive than others. Not that I'm trying to pit anyone against each other, but every woman has some sort of like, there was an inappropriate done to me or near me that involved me, but yet has ever acted upon an inappropriate behavior. Don't know how that happens. And I think that, and I think that too, like, and that's another thing about becoming a woman is like, you got to hide everything away because, you know, just every story, but no men have ever done anything wrong. So where are the men that are, you know, so I think that with this movie too, it's just everything about womanhood, a lot of it, just, you know, don't let it out there, bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. And so and that was the biggest thing for me at the movie, is that it was only May who was like, no, I'm woman, hear me roar, but no one else was able to make that.
Yeah, and yeah, as I said, I'm not certain what the movie's trying to convey with that decision. Yeah. And if it were still March and it hadn't been 3 months since I'd seen the film, I think I would be able to articulate this a little bit more clearly, but you know, yeah, we're getting old and we can't remember things we saw in the previous months anymore. So,
well, if you're anything like you've probably seen like 50 movies since then.
I've been really busy in the last month or so. I haven't seen as many in the last month, but so our
April,
May and March. June movie. May is going to be very short, and June is looking the same way. But we'll see when we get there.
We still have April. This is only March.
Yep. I saw a fair amount of movies in April. Let's see. What you were saying about, you know, every woman has, the majority of women have a story. I would not be surprised to hear that the majority of women have more than one.
Sure. But I didn't want to put out there, like, even if we just say one.
Right. Contrasted with the fact that I, as a dude, I don't think I have any.
All right. I'm going to need people to start sending brother some pics. No, I'm joking.
Well, you know, I mean,
you have
but here's the thing.
You have been solicited without asking.
I have been solicited, but it doesn't mean the same, because I'm, you know, a straight cisgendered white male who has the experiences that I've experienced and the privileges that I enjoy. Getting sent unsolicited dick pics over Facebook doesn't mean the same thing for me as it does for another person who doesn't have the same life experiences and privileges that I do. Right. So while I've experienced stuff, it's not the same. It doesn't mean the same thing, right? So, but anyway, back to Turning Red. I enjoyed the movie. I thought the themes were a little muddled. I thought the main metaphor, both, as I said, it lacked subtlety and also seemed to lose the metaphor as it moved through the movie. Or maybe I just didn't get it. That's perfect. that could have been the case too. But I thought the movie was super fun. I thought most of the jokes landed hard for me. I thought it was very funny. Absolutely gorgeous film, just aesthetically. Some of the best damned animation staging and cinematography I've seen in an animated film. Just for me, a visual treat. I love the way the camera work interacted with the heightened facial expressions that they do with the characters, the way their eyes would super dilate,
and they would like twinkle or get, because they
do the anime twinkles in the eye.
Anime, I remember
some of the animation
cool.
riffs from that are common in anime. Yeah, I thought it was integrated into their 3D Pixar modeling very, very well. I thought more could have been done with the music, but I still really appreciated what they did, because the same real life criticisms I have for that era, that turn of the century boy band music, are exactly the same criticisms I have for this faux turn of the century boy band.
That's right. That's right. This takes place in like 2002 or
2000, yeah, very early 2000s, like 2002 or something.
and and I remember thinking that, and I didn't quite. I don't think I know why.
I guess maybe so people aren't constantly streaming to Facebook Live that there's a giant panda running around their school. Maybe.
I mean, maybe it needed it for.
I mean, also the filmmaker was probably, that's when she grew up. So.
And or the height of boy band madness, because.
Boy bands are, well, I mean, if it were done today, it would probably be like a K-pop band or something like that. But possibly, yeah.
Because I went to the Backstreet Boys Black and Blue concert.
And did you? I don't think I knew that, huh? How about that?
Oh yeah, I was at Tower Records at midnight picking up the album and getting tickets.
Huh.
Tower Records, something that doesn't exist anymore.
I bought Weird Al's new album from Target at some point after it released, because I'm a big fan.
We're gonna have to have a convo, not right now, but about the new movie with Daniel Radcliffe and your thoughts on.
Oh, well, isn't that exclusive to one of the streaming services? It's like on Peacock or something. Which one's it on? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Well, I hope it's on one that I actually have access to, because I would like to see it.
I would like to see it too.
Whatever they're doing with it. Not Backstreet Boys, Four Town with 5 members. I love how actual turn of the century boy band the styling and arrangement of the music is, where you have 5 vocal performers, but you usually only have a melody, maybe with like 1 harmony part. Sometimes you get lucky and get 2, but then there's like one section of the song where it will break out into a 5-part chord, like for one held note,
for the note,
or maybe just a bell chord or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's so beautiful. Why don't you do more of that?
Yeah, it's just the bridge goes into a harmony. And then it goes right back to just.
Oh, so I hate that so much, but they nailed that aesthetic, because that's exactly how it works. One of the funny things is I've long known via cultural osmosis that Billie Eilish, do you have the name right?
Yes.
Is a person who exists.
So far, so good.
And that's about it, because I prior to Turning Red, I had no idea. I knew she existed, but I didn't know like what she did. Because every time I saw her on a news crawl or news aggregator, news feed, it would be like, Billie Eilish is wearing clothes. She is indeed. Billie Eilish is wearing other clothes. Here's pictures of Billie Eilish wearing clothes. And I'm like, why do I care that this person's wearing clothes? Billie Eilish wasn't smiling. Okay, now we're getting sexist, but I actually, whoever Billie Eilish is, I was like, well, she's fashionable, and I appreciate that she's comfortable sporting the flat affect that I do naturally. So
she's incredibly talented. I don't believe you would like her music.
So I was watching the credits of Turning Red.
Okay.
And it scrolls past Four Town, written by Billie Eilish and some other collaborator. I'm like, she's a musician. Okay, she's a singer-songwriter. All right, that's who she is. He
plays one of the Four Town dudes.
I think the person she collaborated with is actually on the vocals for the songs. If I'm remembering, I didn't recognize his name. No one's talking about his clothes or him smiling, but like they do with Miss Eilish. But now I know who Billie Eilish is. I have no idea. Maybe I should look into her oeuvre. She's actually got some show or special or something on Disney Plus. Maybe I should watch that. I don't know what it is.
Have not seen it. I enjoy a lot of her music. I
imagine
don't enjoy a lot of her music.
I imagine I've probably heard some of her songs just casually and just don't know they're hers. Like Beyonce. I couldn't name a Beyonce song if you asked. I'm aware she exists. I'm aware that she's actually a musician. And I've probably heard many of her songs. I don't know which ones they are, though. She also has something on Disney Plus that I thought about watching, and then I went, nah.
She has a few things. She had a documentary about herself, but she also had like something about You Are the King or This Is the
Black
King.
is King?
There, yeah, I'm like, there's something about King.
Isn't it like a riff on the Lion King or something like that? Or
I didn't watch it, so I
didn't watch it either.
Like it is just, I think it's a narrative movie. It's not her. Okay, no one's behind me. It's not
of course,
her.
This is also coming from the person who just like a month ago found out that Whitney Houston died like a decade ago.
Okay, yes, I remember having that conversation with you.
I text my sister out of the blue. Whitney Houston died? Question mark, exclamation point. She's like, yeah. Did you hear that? Like, Buddy Holly passed away?
No, who was the one that I told you? I said, yeah.
Meatloaf?
I think I was like, yeah.
Prince, Michael Jackson.
No, it was Bowie. I'm like, Bowie.
David Bowie. It's like, yeah. Some no one told me about that. Y'all failed.
You did.
I for some reason I was thinking I'm sitting there. One of these was somebody to love me. I'm like, who else sings this? Whitney Houston? What the hell? She been doing lately? I haven't. She released it. Did she retire? Google. Oh shit, she's dead. She's been dead for 10 years. Oh no. How did
I missed her funeral?
I wasn't invited, so I guess it's not that big a deal. But anyway,
fail more often.
Yeah. So Turning Red. Interestingly, my sister and I have the same criticisms of the movie. I enjoyed it more than she did. So
there you go.
All right, so let's move to the rest of the stuff I watched. And
because that's it for me, y'all. I watched Batman and Turning Red. Ding!
Yeah, I think I've seen 2 movies this month of June. Like on June 1st, I went to the drive-in and I saw the double feature of Bob's Burgers movie and Doctor Strange 2. So
I've seen it now.
And is it what everyone says it is, that it's just like the show, so if you like the show, you'll like the movie?
That's it.
There you go. That's exactly what it should be.
We covered it, so we can skip that for 2.
that's it.
Do you like Bob's Burgers? Go see the movie. Do you like Bob's Burgers? No?
Movie ain't gonna change your mind.
Not for you.
Yeah,
it is not set up to create fans.
Yeah, I don't think I've not seen the show, but from what I've heard from other people, I would surmise that the movie is not intending or attempting to garner new fans. They're catering to the existing ones or anyone who didn't know they'd be a fan of the property.
Okay.
They're not casting a wider net.
No. They're
casting the same net.
Yep.
Yeah. With the holes in the net being the same size.
They did it for people like me.
Right. So it will catch tuna like my sister, but little sardines like. When did you learn that? We'll swim right through. Exactly. When did you learn that tuna were huge fish? Because they come in a can this small. I thought they were little fish. They're big. They're really big fish.
It could be Animal Crossing.
That is a possibility. That game's been around for 20 some years.
So what else did you
I got it. Okay. So anyway, next movie, The Asphalt Jungle. Does that name ring a bell? Have you heard of the Asphalt Jungle? Yeah, it's one of those ones I was just looking around on Criterion Channel and then like, I've heard of that. That's like a crime caper noir kind of film from the 50s, right? And yeah, it's exactly what it is. So it's a heist film.
Has it been remade?
It's such a recognizable title to me. I would not be surprised if it had.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, and we do know older movies. I think I fished into Criterion for April. But I'm pretty sure that I know that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Please tell me about Asphalt Jungle, which is how you said it.
The ass.
It's the fault of the derriere that we are in this jungle.
Right. It's the asphalt. Whose fault is it? Ass. So the Asphalt Jungle is a heist film, and it has the classic setup where the the old safe cracker gets out of jail, and he's immediately picked up by the modern no-good-nicks to lead a heist for one last big job. And so they have to get a crew together and plan things and perform the heist and then get away with it all. And everyone's rich. And there's a lot of...
but this is the 50s, so I'm guessing they still... When did people start getting away with things? That's not till like the 70s, right?
That would be the end of the 60s. I think the Hays Code stopped like towards the end of the 60s. Yeah, so okay. This was 1950s, so it's a solid heist film.
Good.
But because it's a Hays Code era, no one's getting away with this. They're all either going to be dead or captured. And it's the destination, it's the journey, not the destination, right? For sure. And it is a fun ride, even if you know where it's going.
Aww.
But that does, I guess there's some tension, is like, will they survive or just go to jail?
Okay.
And a mix, But I mean, if you've seen heist films, you have a pretty good idea of what's going on with this. The female cast, the two women in the movie, they narratively and character-wise get the short end of the stick, but 1950s, so that's...
But there's two. Normally there's just the one.
That's right. They don't meet, and they never talk to each other because they don't meet, but... they do exist. There are at least two women in this world, and one of them is Marilyn Monroe. I think this might have been her first, if not one of her first, probably her first major role, because she was not on the
okay, this might be the reason I know the name of the movie.
Yes,
yes. This might be the reason that Asphalt Jungle is a known title, because it tied, if it's Marilyn Monroe's first film.
Because the marketing for this movie a year or so later changed to The Asphalt Jungle, starring Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe on the poster after she got really big. And she is the mistress of some guy in the movie. She's in maybe 5 minutes of the movie, and she's definitely, you can see that there's a star over there. There's a charismatic screen presence. She's going places. Sure. But she has nothing to do with the movie. She's not top billed in the film's title cards.
Is she just a girlfriend?
Yeah, she's the mistress of some dude who is important to the plot. She not so much.
Gotcha.
The women in this movie are roadblocks for the men, that they're either whiny or treacherous or holding them back or something. They are obstacles. They're not characters usually. Still solid heist film. It has all the elements of, guy gets out of prison, immediately going for one last job, got to get the crew together, got to get the driver, got to get the muscle, got to get to this, got to figure out how to fence the jewels once we steal them, got to make sure that no one's double crossing us. Oh gosh, things are going poorly. We got to think on our feet. It's all really well done, and it's really exciting. And I want to highlight the muscle, who I think his name is something like Dix Handley. The most subtle name I've ever heard. Who is this walking slab of meat? Who?
Yes.
Who? Just this.
Yes. Okay, now I'm looking this up. Okay, hold on.
Just this big, mean dude who looks like the only thing he does is eat bricks and punch people. I have no idea who this actor is, and watching his performance, I don't know if he's like genuinely a genius actor or terrible. I have no idea if this actor is really, really bad or he's really, really good. It's
Sterling
that kind
Hayden as Dix Handley.
Dix Handley. What a wonderful name. And he's just the bruiser. He's the muscle of the team. He takes no shit from anybody.
Who is Sterling Hayden though? Like, who is this guy?
I have no idea. I don't think I recognized him, but
he has a lot of pictures smoking a cigar, not just smoking, like full on chewing that sucker. That's a man who eats tar for breakfast.
Yeah, he's a fascinating character to watch. And again, you'd have to see the movie, and I think you'd probably come away with it. Yeah, I don't know if this actor is genius or just terrible. I really don't know, but it's a compelling presence that he has, and I enjoyed the movie. It's not perfect. It suffers from a lot of the issues that movies of that era suffer from, but it's in solid, enjoyable little heist film, and I mostly quite enjoyed it. And it has a character named Dix Handley.
That what's not like, and I did see when I was looking it up, like the poster of just Marilyn Monroe,
and she's wearing like a blue dress. I don't think she's in that dress I don't think that's actually from the movie at all. But it's funny how Marilyn Monroe's big. We're gonna remarket this movie.
Well, shoot, yeah, she just made it.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
All right, moving on. Next movie I saw was Catwoman, because the
Halle Berry one.
The Halle Berry one, yeah. Is there another Catwoman movie? I mean, Catwoman's been in other movies, but no, I'm not. I'm just trying to think. I think live action wise, I think Catwoman's the only. Halle Berry's the only Catwoman movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of cat, Olivia move. Yeah. So I'm doing a series of superhero movies from the last 2 decades that I never got around to seeing, and Catwoman was one of them. And I already did a 30-minute video on what I thought of Catwoman. I thought it was bad. Catwoman is a well-known movie for being maligned by everyone, and not without good reason. It is a bad movie, but I would like to point out that Halle Berry is not a bad actor.
No.
She was doing exactly what she was asked to do. She is a consummate professional, darn it. So no shade on Halle Berry or Benjamin Bratt or Sharon Stone, or stacked cast. It's a great cast. A lot of great people in this film. It's just a really poorly conceived and executed movie. It's not the fault of the actors. It's just a bad movie. Have you seen it?
I have not, but I do realize that some actors can make anything sound good. Those actors could be counted on a hand,
Yeah.
So no matter how talented the actress, you can't make "Do you know what happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning?" the same thing that happens to everything else sound good no matter what. I don't blame her for that line, and I don't blame her for anything in Catwoman either, even though I haven't seen it. Like, I'm sure her performance is exactly as good. It is as good as a performance that was written that way and directed that way could be.
Yeah. And, I did a full video on it. I'll try to remember to put a title card.
Here.
Yeah, over here somewhere. We're actually over here, so it'd be like over there.
Oh, am I? Are we
upper right?
We like this?
We're stacked because I put the poster next to us.
Sure.
So big other way, but so big. There you go. So watch my full review for Catwoman to see my thoughts on the full movie. Next, I watched Constantine, which is another superhero movie that I hadn't got around to seeing. That's the Keanu Reeves one, based on the Hellblazer series of books.
That was on TV the other day, and Jeremy was like glued, and I was like,
really? Because I thought that was bad too.
And I was like, and he thought I had seen it, and so it was like somewhere. And he was like, "Oh, well, we need to shut it off then," so because he knows how I feel about like watching something to the end that I haven't scene
from the beginning. Yeah.
But he was so upset because he was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch this. So bad movie, eh?
I thought so. I know a lot of people really like it, which wonderful. I thought it was bad. I thought it had the elements of a good movie. There's a lot of things in it that I like. I just don't think it comes together as a good movie.
Okay.
It's
riddle
similar.
me this. Are you familiar with the comics? Like,
not as familiar as I am with other characters. I'm more aware of their existence. I've seen John Constantine pop up in other people's books. I've not read any of the actual Hellblazer books, though. I don't believe.
Okay.
So I've seen the character pop up in other books, and I've seen the character pop up in other, like some of the animated stuff. I haven't seen Legends of Tomorrow. I think he's in that too. I think they actually did a Constantine series and then canceled it after one season. A live action series on, what was it, CW or something. But Constantine, interestingly, you said riddled me this, like the Batman, I feel it suffers from one of the same problems in that
he wasn't supposed to be the main character.
He shouldn't be the main character because he's boring and he sucks.
I listen when you talk.
And in the Batman, the narrative revolves around Selina Kyle. It's her story. Batman's involved. He should be there, but the point of view character should be Selina Kyle. Right. Constantine is the same way. Rachel Weisz is in the movie, and her character, she's the one who drives the plot. Batman and Constantine are the Jack Sparrows of their movie. They should be there. They're great characters.
Yeah.
But they're not the lead character. They're not the main protagonist. Again, which is why the later Pirates of the Caribbean movies failed, because Jack Sparrow is not a leading character. He doesn't drive the plot.
Right.
And that was one of the issues I had with Constantine too. What's her name? Plays the Tilda Swinton. She plays the angel Gabriel, which is great.
That's awesome. I love her, and I love that Tilda plays conically, like that there are male roles that this woman gets.
I think the idea for this particular role was to be androgynous, but yes.
Again, I enjoy that she is able to play those non-gender specific androgynous characters, because
didn't she play
beautiful woman?
Play Bob Dylan or something like that?
Yeah,
right. What the hell's the name of that movie? I'm Not There, or
I was going to say Anywhere But Here, but that's not it either. I think you're more correct than I am. I Wish I Were Here. I don't know. Because she's a beautiful woman. She is a beautiful woman, and yet she can
fascinating performer too.
Make herself look so angular or so
homely.
It's incredible where she takes herself, and I love that what a role model to be, a woman to be like, yeah, I'll take this gig, and you want me to look good, bad, in between, whatever it is, let's do it. And it's so I love it. It's fascinating.
One of the things that speaking of that domain there, one of the things that always amuses me about movies, it's a bit more predominant in like the 50s era. I mean, it's subtled out a little bit in modern day movie making, but I always love when a woman in a movie rolls out of bed at 4 a.m. to go check on a weird noise, and her hair is like salon ready. She's wearing this full nightgown. She probably still has like earrings in, full makeup that's not like smeared all over her face and the pillow. I mean, we want our actors to be attractive. That's part of the fun of movies, is watching pretty people doing fun things. I get it, but
yeah,
I do admire also that in modern day, generally they tone that down a little bit, so it's not so runway ready, because it's like, oh my god, how is she sleeping like that?
So
it's so funny to me.
I think I know the answer to this, but have you ever seen Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
No.
Okay, first off, watch it. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way.
Amazon, is that where that one is?
That is correct.
Okay.
So yes, first watch. Second, this gives nothing away, but she answers that question, answers loosely, but she goes to bed at night and she she has the little kerchief in her hair and she puts her little she just puts her kerchief in her hair and then she lays down and she kisses her husband and she's like good night, and she has the window cracked just a little bit so that the sun shines in the morning over her first and it wakes her up. And so she gets up at like 4 a.m. and puts rollers in her hair and brushes her teeth and does her makeup and like puts cold cream all over and everything that like he can't see her doing. And then she goes back to bed and
so that she can wake up like
that. And he's always like, oh, you look so beautiful every morning. And I'm just like,
that's hilarious.
And I looked over at Jeremy and I was like, not gonna happen.
See, if I were directing a movie,
there's a way I look in the morning and it ain't this.
If I were had creative control on a movie, right? Maybe the producer would hate me, maybe the actors would hate me, but I'd have my actors, waking up at 4 a.m. with, weird creases on their face from the pillow and their hair sticking in weird directions, and then dry mouths and just can't kind of,
I want to see someone with like
not pretty
their night guards in.
Taking their Invisaligns off or something like that. Or waking up with a cat butt in their face.
That's what I want. I want someone who wants to get out of bed and pee, but there's like a cat on them and they're like, well, I live here now.
Yep. Might have to go in the bed. Cat's too cute. Honey, what's the matter? I have to go to the bathroom. So go. I can't. Why? Because the cat is sitting on me. She looks really comfortable and cute.
A strange noise in the middle of the night. I want to go investigate.
I'd go, but yeah.
All right.
Or you go to the bathroom and you come back and the cat's where you're sleeping. You're like, you son of a bitch. Move your ass over.
She does that. She's like, oh, a nice warm spot. I'm like,
right. Thanks for spending the last 5 hours warming this section of the bed just for me. You shouldn't have. Okay. Next is The African Queen.
Oh.
From 1951. So this is it's Humphrey Bogart and who's the woman in it?
Catherine, right?
Catherine Hepburn? Yeah, I think it might be. Pretty sure that's who it is.
Sure it is.
Yeah. So it's a pretty famous movie. I think most people have heard of it. It's the one where the African Queen is the name of Humphrey Bogart's boat. So we have some Christian missionaries in Africa somewhere who are missionarying their Christianness to the locals, and then the bad guys, Germans, I guess, come and just torch everybody. Doubt,
it's the Germans.
It's the Germans, I
have to apologize. We are German.
Of that era. The bad guy Germans, the Nazis. So they show up and, pardon me, well, wouldn't actually have been Nazis at that point, but still.
Right.
Bad people with bad intentions who set fire to all the villagers' homes and,
Rude.
Shoot them and drag them off into slavery or something. And the male missionary, her husband, or no, it's her brother, I think, dies. And so Humphrey Bogart says, all right, we'll get on the African Queen and we will just sail on out of here. And it's these two adventuring down the river to escape. And it's like, oh no, we have to sail past the fort with the mounted machine gun, and we have to get past them without dying, and the boat's falling apart, and oh gosh, there's piranhas or hippos.
Game. Like this would be like a side-scrolling video game.
It's more an adventure kind of a thing, yeah. They have to worry about storms and food and swarms of flies and bitey things, and the propeller under the boat breaks, and they get into a big reedy marsh where they have to actually push the boat, and then leeches show up, and of course they fall in love.
Oh, sure.
Which the relationship is forced.
Okay.
But Bogart and Hepburn are such charismatic leads that I didn't have too much of a problem with it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't really buy it, but I enjoy what these two are just so damn charismatic that I don't really care. They're fun to watch. And so they are like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to sail to the end, and we're going to make a big torpedo, and we're going to ram the boat into the big German warship, and we're going to help the good guys. Yeah. And it goes to some surprisingly dark places, which I wasn't expecting, but gives the movie some contrast and makes it interesting. Overall, what did I say? I said an odd couple journey down an uncharted river in a dilapidated boat to destroy an enemy ship with makeshift torpedoes and fall in love. It's okay. You know, and it's yeah, The African Queen, it is okay. It is a perfectly serviceable little movie. Is it
short? It sounds kind of short.
Yeah, it's probably not much longer than an hour and 40 minutes, if that. Yeah. It's mainly it's one of those 50s star vehicle things. More the point of the movie is Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn.
Sure. Okay.
And rightfully so. They are screen legends for a reason. They are compellingly watchable presences, whatever they happen to be doing. Oh, and the movie is not as sexist as you might assume it would be. That's because you think, 1951, guy and gal on a boat in life-threatening situations. Humphrey Bogart would be the man in charge, and oh no, what are we gonna do, Humphrey? I know what we'll do. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not sexist. There's some sexism in it, but it's nowhere near as sexist that I kind of would have guessed. Katharine Hepburn contributes a lot to the forward momentum of the plot and the problem solving, and she's a very almost prototypical Princess Leia-esque go-getter. I'm gonna hike up my dress and jump in with the leeches and help pull the boat kind of a thing. So there's some really nice stuff in this.
Like Bryce Dallas Howard when she takes off her high heels and just ties her shirt around her waist, and Chris Pratt goes, "What does this mean?"
Doing? What is it? I just means I'm ready. Right. It's like, oh, okay. That was a big production. I am so afraid of Jurassic World Dominion. Because there's at least 3 scenes in the movie where people look at a dinosaur and go like this. Now stop doing that. It was stupid the first time. It's getting worse now. It's just a joke. Oh no, here's 2 Rexes. I get when you do that when you have trained raptors, but I don't think the Rexes will care.
They're like,
it's like, oh, whoa, there's a badass here. Sorry, this guy stuck his hand in my face.
100%. And it reminds me of, because even in the previews, I'm like, why is it? It was cool when he did it the first time, and it became a meme, and now it's almost like
now it's a joke.
And it reminds me of the Resurrections Matrix with Mr.
which I haven't watched yet.
Right, with Keanu just doing this the whole movie, and I'm like, he does stunts, right? Like, that Keanu likes to.
Although I did like the fact that Vincent D'Onofrio tried to do the hand thing at the end of Jurassic World and got his arm torn off. I was like, okay, that's pretty good.
That made it work.
Yeah, that was a payoff. That was a setup and a payoff. Now, please stop doing it. Now, I haven't seen the movie. Maybe it works well in context. I don't know.
I haven't seen it either. And I'm hoping that in the one scene that it's Chris and the lovely Black woman next to him, I hope that's Kelly.
Is it? It wouldn't surprise me if it was. She looks too young for that to be Kelly from the Lost World, right?
Yeah. Kelly is Jeff Goldblum's daughter.
Right. The gymnast who kicks a raptor, which people, I hate that. I'm like, no, that's set up. I like that.
Coming back, and
I don't
even
know
though
why
I
there was a
didn't
parallel
like that
bar in
movie
the
at all. I didn't like that movie, but
no, Lost World's bad.
If everyone is coming
but it does
back,
have dinosaurs in it.
Then that better be Kelly.
Wait,
that's my opinion.
I
haven't seen it.
Is Sarah Harding or Nick Owen in this movie? That's oh God, what's her name? What are those actors' name? That's Vince Vaughn and Julianne Moore. Yeah. No, I haven't heard that they're in this movie.
No, they don't matter. But I mean, but like if Jeff Goldblum was back, you'd think his daughter would be there. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying this is my. I haven't seen it. We'll find out.
I mean,
we'll find out.
It's terrible. I hear. I'm like, does it have dinosaurs in
I know.
it?
I was gonna say, can't be that.
Yes. Do they attack people? Yes. Okay. Can't be that bad. I mean, I've seen Carnosaur. It's okay. It's got dinosaurs in it. Tammy and the T-Rex is fine. Come on. It's got a dinosaur in it.
I love it.
All right. So African Queen, it's okay.
It is a movie.
It is a movie that you can watch and enjoy for the most part. Although it's one of those where they like strip down to bathe in the river because they're sweaty and sticky and full of dirt and stuff. It's like, oh, I'm you on that side of the boat, this side of the boat, and
I'm all sticky.
And Katharine Hepburn, stripped down to her underwear. Ooh. Which is so much clothing that I was afraid she would immediately sink to the bottom of the river. because she's wearing full bloomers and shirt thingy that's under the main dress that she's wearing. I'm like, I mean, I get modesty, especially of the era, but that would seem to like weigh you down. I would not jump in the water with that much clothing. I would probably sink.
Not just that, but I also laugh at
and she does have problems climbing right back out. So
it would probably take her a lot of time to even get down to that much clothing.
Yeah.
Like, because there's layers and ties and buttons and stuff. Like, there was a lot of contraptions. I was out at the store with the kids the other day, and clothing now, like I'm like, there's literally clothing out there that is smarter than me, and thusly I cannot own it. If I can't look at you and figure out which way I'm supposed to dive in, I shall not have you.
I mean, I worked in the field doing inventory for department stores, so I've seen a lot of outfits that I'm like, I
don't understand how it works.
I mean, I'm like, I don't even know if it's on the hanger correctly.
Yeah. And then
and it's usually like swimsuits or lingerie are the most complicated. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So African Queen. Also, it's kind of nice that they look worse and worse over the course of the film. Like they do a nice job. Whoever the continuity manager is did a nice job making sure that their outfits are deteriorating over the course of the film. And they look terrible by the end of the movie, which is pretty great.
That is good.
Okay, so last movie for March.
Ooh.
I'm No Angel.
Then I don't know this one. I know We're No Angels.
Nope, I'm No Angel from 1933. I decided that I should not go through my life having never seen a Mae West movie.
Oh, okay.
So this was my first Mae West movie. I'm pretty sure it's not her first movie, but
is it the Why Don't You Come Up and See Me Sometime? Is that in that
she
movie?
has so many similar double entendres and lines like that. It might be. I don't think it's this movie, but she has so many of those. It's one of those movies from the 30s that stars an actor who has a gimmick or a personality, and the film is built around that. Kind of like One example is like the Marx Brothers movies. This is essentially a vaudeville act that they've built a movie around. It's really not a movie per se. It's more an excuse for a particular actor or performer known for a shtick to do their shtick for 90 or 100 minutes. And this is no different. The I'm No Angel is definitely a Mae West vehicle. I think probably the reason I picked this one to start with is because it's one of, if not the first film appearance, or at least the first major role of Cary Grant, who I've always been a huge fan of. I think that guy's just wonderfully fun in nearly everything I've seen him in. So I thought, okay, the sexually charged boisterousness and innuendo of Mae West with the affable, sometimes clumsy, but always funny Cary Grant. Okay, this sounds like fun. The movie is awful, which makes me so unhappy. I was so disappointed in this film. Let me see, what did I say? The bones of an interesting film are there, but it feels like a vanity project. West is a fascinating presence, but the story's boring and few jokes land. Neat seeing the dude a decade younger than the woman, though. So yeah, Mae West is probably around 40 in this film, and Cary Grant was maybe late 20s, maybe 30. So he's the main squeeze. So that's nice to see.
That's nice.
One thing that really surprised me though is Cary Grant does not show up until almost an hour into the film. I actually stopped the film like partway into it. I'm like, I thought Cary Grant, where's my Cary Grant? You know?
That's pretty funny.
The basic plot of the movie is Mae West works for, I think, a circus or something, and that I think is incidental. But basically, the movie is her going through men, trying to find one to amuse her and support her lifestyle, and that's about it. And then it takes a turn in the third act where I think everyone sues her for fraud for something. Like all the men that she's dating, like sue her for fraud because, you know, she was like ripping them off or taking advantage. You know, they felt taken advantage of. I was giving you all this money and you never had sex with me. That's, you have violated the social contract, lady. I'm nice to you, now you owe me sex, right? Because that's how it works. And they go to court over this. And it's actually kind of weird. I like this setup where it's almost like, you know, the sequence in My Cousin Vinny, where Joe Pesci finally reaches his stride and he's just knocking down the witnesses like bowling pins.
I'm done with this guy.
I'm done with this guy. It's essentially Mae West representing herself and just going through this list of boyfriends and why all of their accusations are dumb bullshit. And it's actually kind of wonderful. And gets to the point, and one of the plaintiffs is Cary Grant, I think, and he's just sitting there just like falling in love with her all over again, because it's just so funny. And I think he ends up just, you know, dropping charge. I don't think he wanted to be there in the first place. I think like one of his representatives was forcing some weird thing. I don't remember anymore. The movie's not very good. But as I said, there's the bones of an interesting film here. I like the idea of a plague girl kind of woman who flouts societal expectations, especially in the sexual realm of the time, landing in court by a bunch of jilted boyfriends who felt that because they were lavishing her with attention and gifts that she owed them her attention. And her just systematically pointing out how wrong that is and what dumb shits they are, all the while doing the Mae Westy thing, where I mean, Mae West's gimmick is delivering every line like she's having a small orgasm.
Yeah.
With a big smile and her eyes rolling back in her head.
You're not wrong.
It is the weirdest damn thing I have ever watched, but I have to admit it's strangely compelling. Watch this woman do her shtick, because there's really nothing like it. And some of her lines are genuinely funny. I think comparing her to like Groucho Marx, right? He's Groucho Marx is very witty and clever, but he's more of an insult comic, right? A lot of what he says is just mean. Like, I've seen a couple of the Marx films, and I generally don't like them very much. Some of the vaudeville acts are funny. Some of the slapstick and physical humor is kind of funny, but where people just come up to Groucho Marx and like, hey, how are you doing? And then he turns it around on them and comments on their weight or something. It's like, that's just mean. Mae West is just sexually charged with everything she says, and that can be very funny.
Yeah. Isn't
I want them to do a, you know, Mae West story time in preschool or something like that, doing all this stuff, and the kids are like, what? And she just sits there smiling and rolling her eyes back in her head, and the librarians and parents are like, oh my god,
she's reading The Hungry Caterpillar.
Something. Yeah. Oh, that would be funny. Maybe that exists, I don't know, but
that would be good. Reading for kids.
Yeah, I'm glad I finally saw a Mae West film. I kind of want to watch another one, because this movie is just not good. Even though there are elements of the film that I like, it really just does not come together into a cohesive whole.
That's sad. And what year is this one, you said?
1933.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's all our movies for March. So we're done. And I have plenty of time to render this video before starting on my Sunday stream. So yeah.
Rendering video.
For some reason, I thought of the Blockbuster video jingle when you said rendering video. I'm like, well, that syllabically, that difference. Blockbuster video. Yeah.
Wasn't there an O up there? I don't know.
Might have been. Toys R Us had a fun jingle too. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with, from bikes games. To trains to video games. That's the adults are us. It's the biggest toy store there is. I don't want to grow up, because maybe if I did, I wouldn't be a Toys R Us kid. And I don't want to grow up. Don't want to grow up. I want to be a Toys R Us kid. Woo! Everything ended with a woo. DuckTales. Woo!
There you go.
Oh man,
it's the thing that I'll never forget.
Man, TV shows, you kids today, your TV show and opening themes suck. Back in the 80s and even in the 90s, the opening and ending songs for a lot of cartoons went hard. Harder than they needed to be.
Full performance and everything. No, but so my favorite, this has nothing to do with anything, but it's funny. So Family Guy, which you don't watch, there's they make fun of Scrooge, isn't it?
Scrooge McDuck,
in the DuckTales.
I think David Tennant is doing the voice for him nowadays. I think. The dude who played Kilgrave and
yeah, I know who David Tennant is.
I was just making sure I've got the right guy. I think he was Doctor Who at some point too.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
But Peter jumps into like a vault room full of money because like his dream is to be Scrooge McDuck, and of course in Family Guy,
break his goddamn neck.
And of course in Family Guy, Peter gets what he wants somehow and then loses it all. That's just the arc of every episode. And he dives in and bloody and bones popping out of places, and he goes, "It's not a liquid."
That's that actually comes up in the DuckTales cartoon, that yeah, that's not possible. Scrooge McDuck is just very talented. He's like the only one who can actually do that.
She's pooping over the side of her litter box.
Wait, is she's standing in the litter box and pooping over the side like she's on a boat or something?
She's upset because I need to get her new litter. I love that I'm just sitting here, but what are you supposed to do in the middle of it? You can't, like, this is happening, guys. There's a mat under her litter box, so she's pooping on a mat. It's totally fine.
Is she making eye contact with you while she's doing it?
No, her butt's on the side, so I'm actively watching it. That's why I rolled back in my.
So it's not a.
She realizes it's happening because she's now going to cover things that aren't there.
She's scooping and just hitting the side. It's like, oh, I don't know.
She's like, where's my? Right there, I feel it. I love this cat so much. She's so adorable.
Nice. So I'm looking at my April movies, and oh god, the first one is another one of the superhero movies that I watched.
I tell you.
Oh god, the third one is too, and the fourth one. Okay, so April I might actually be quicker, although I haven't released. And then the next one is the Batman, so we might actually get through April pretty quickly.
Did I see this in May? Yes. When did Doctor Strange come out? Was that a May movie?
I think it was something like May 3rd or May 5th.
It was right at the beginning of May. Yeah. So I only have 2 movies for April, and it's because I streamed them. So yeah, April might be quick because I only had 2 movies.
All right. Well, but April is for another recording session, so we will call it here. So thank you everyone for listening. Of course, let us know in the comments what you think of the movies or something. Yeah. I don't know. What do you do on YouTube? I just make videos. I don't use YouTube or anything. Although I would like to, I'm very happy to announce that YouTube's analytics has informed me that for the very first time in 5 years, I ended last month with a net gain of subscribers. A net gain of 2. So the first time in 5 years, 2 new subscribers. Welcome, new subscribers. I hope you would enjoy the goofiness.
Don't leave.
Please don't leave me. I've been so lonely.
We're so happy to have you.
My double-digit views are really make me feel bad. Oh, my 15 minutes were so short.
This is going to get tens and tens of views, like Mayhem says.
What's weird is my podcast, the Molehill Mountain podcast, has been doing numbers the last couple of weeks. It's weird. Oh, I mean, my time has passed, but for some reason, the podcast has been doing really nice numbers for the last couple of weeks. I don't know why.
There you go, brother. We got to do a podcast. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, all right, well, we're going to end this video, and then maybe my sister and I will discuss a podcast. So
future endeavors.
There we go. All right, thanks for hanging out, everybody. See you next month for more monthly movie mini reviews. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.